broadcasting live. You guys doing a little bit of remixing over there behind the glass? The whole like the remix, this is the remix edition for 2022, the end of the year remix. You guys couldn't even get anything straight back there. Anyways, broadcasting live from the WDCE studios out of the University of Richmond. You're listening to 90.1 FM. Here we are. We are broadcasting live now. Finally got both cameras up. We have the YouTube feed over here. Shout out to MCDC ACDC is number one over here this time. And we are broadcasting live here on the Sam Cam too. So Sam Cam at Sam NewsMan on Instagram. Roundhead being first over there. I always like to shout out who's first. The reason why I say that is because you remember back in the day when you would go to a website and you would read a website. You would read a website, and when you would go read an article in a website, there'd be a comment section down at the bottom of the website. And sometimes you would just to kind of troll the comment section, all you would do is just type first, right? You would just type first. You won't even say anything about the article. You just say first, and that's it. You just leave it at that, just because you wanted to be the first one to make a comment, because your comment, well, at least back in the day, would be at the top. It still might be the case too. But so I just want to give everyone who's always first a shout out. White Vegeta, see White Vegeta also in the chat here too. Now let's see here. But yeah, okay. So here we are. We are broadcasting live from the WDCE studios at the University of Richmond. And to listen to the show, of course, you want to download the Simple Radio app. Download the Simple Radio app on your smartphone, your device, or whatever. Search WDCE. You can also listen to it in the browser too. Let's do it in the browser as well. But yes, you want to search WDCE on the Simple Radio app. Download the Simple Radio app. Search WDCE, and you can be a part of the show live. It is the Top Toys of 2022 edition. And I was saying at the top of the last hour that the reason why my list is a lot different than everyone else's is because I actually have the ability to think about what I'm going to talk about, as opposed to just being a shill and just vomiting up a bunch of toys that everyone else is going to. Oh, here's Serpentor, here's Galactus, here's Usagi, blah, 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 blah. And everyone always has about 3 Hasbro figures, 2 Mattel figures, a NECA, and a partridge in a pear tree. And that's not what you're going to get with my list. In fact, I have 1 figure per production studio on my top 10 list. So without further ado, we're going to talk about numbers 10 through 6 real quickly. And then I'm going to have somebody call in to the show here in just a few moments. And so let's start off here. The number 10 is going to be Desert Rat. You familiar with Desert Rat? Desert Rat by Valaverse. Desert Rat by Valaverse being my number 10 figure. I don't have any G.I. Joe figures on the list. No, I actually have a real war hero on the list. You familiar with Tony Roberts? Tony Roberts of Analog Toys. You should follow Analog Toys. Analog Toys here on YouTube. Right over here. Yes, hold on. Let's make sure. Yeah, YouTube right over here. Follow Analog Toys on YouTube. Tony Roberts being an actual soldier. Served in Afghanistan. Yes, a real war hero. None of that fake war hero stuff. No, we only have real war heroes. So no G.I. Joes on the list this year. No, we have a real G.I. Joe. No, actually, not even a real G.I. Joe. A real Action Force soldier on the list, representing soldiers and military toys everywhere. So shout out to Tony. I spoke to Tony at Joe Fest. Hopefully, Tony will be at Joe Fest again this year. Great individual. And an amazing collector. But yes, check out Analog Toys. And that is, like I said, our number 10 figure of 2022, Desert Rat by Valaverse. The number 9 figure that we have here on the list is Leatherhead from Super 7. You say, well, why Super 7? There's always a lot of hate with Super 7. But the reason why Leatherhead is so interesting is because if you're familiar with the original Leatherhead figure from the Playmates toy line, the Ninja Turtles Playmates toy line, it was a very odd figure, kind of squatted, kind of hunched over. And when you set him next to the Turtles, he was a little bit smaller. And here he was this alligator, but he's a little bit smaller than the Turtles. Well, what Super 7 did is they took that original design and they upped it by about 120%, maybe 150%. in terms of its scaling with the other action figures in the line. If you grab that Leatherhead figure, he's massive. He's huge. He's huge. He's like a real crocodile as an action figure. And, of course, his jaw moves up and down. He's got all of the weapons. The trap is incredible too, because the original figure came with a trap. Well, the trap that comes with Leatherhead is just as massive. So that is the number 9 figure on the list. That would be Leatherhead from Super 7. Number 8 on the list is Monstar by Ramen Toy. Now, let's just take a moment here just to talk about Ramen Toy. Ramen Toy has to be my favorite new production studio in 2022. At the beginning of the year, I picked up the 3 80s Commanders figures in the 3-pack. 80s Commanders being a throwback and a nod to the Centurions, which we played at the last music break. But the 80s Commanders were done so well, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Ramen Toy decided to throw up a Quicksilver on their website and then a Monstar. Now, there's been some snafu, of course, with licensing and all that other jazz we won't get into. But one of the reasons why Monstar was so amazing, not only because of his scale and his size, but because that he actually came with an open mouth head sculpt. The first time we ever had that. In fact, Super 7's doing their own Monstar because they have the license and they're doing cartoon figures. And I'm pretty sure that the Monstar will be one of the top figures next year in 2023. But the Monstar that Ramen Toy did was massive, and he came with a head sculpt with an open mouth. Like I said, first time that's ever happened. Because in the show that Monstar always talked through his teeth. Of course, I like the fact that Monstar looks like he's screaming, yelling, or doing something. I mean, he looks great. But anyways, a wonderful figure, amazing figure. That is the number 8 figure of the year, Ramen Toy's Monstar. And so shout out to Ace over at Ramen Toy. We'll be getting an interview with Ace soon, hopefully here in the next couple months, next month or so, maybe. We'll do it sooner than that. Do it as fast as we can. Ace, I hope you're having a wonderful Christmas. And we will be talking to you soon. Looking very forward to the Marshall line. Marshall being representative of Brave Star. That's going to be coming out. And who better than to talk about Brave Star than me? Someone that has a bunch of actual Brave Star cells on their wall in their office over in Toy Town. Of course, I'm the only. Well, if there's any Brave Star authority, it would be me. So once again, so here we go. We had number 10, Desert Rat from Valaverse. We have Leatherhead from Super 7. We have Monstar from Ramen Toys. Number 7 is Kintaro. Kintaro from Storm Collectibles. You familiar with Kintaro? Kintaro being the 4-armed boss before you reach Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat 2. Yeah, so Mortal Kombat 1 had the 4-armed mammoth Goro. And Storm Collectibles came out with a Goro figure several years ago. But this year they came out with a Kintaro. And if the Kintaro came out last year, then I'll tell you, the reason why we have Kintaro on the list this year is because the Kintaro that I was able to purchase is the bloody variant one. And of course, my question is why would you get a Mortal Kombat figure that's not a bloody variant? Because it was Mortal Kombat that set Congress in a frenzy back in 1992. Because here you have a video game of people ripping off heads and ripping out hearts and all this other jazz, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, this is terrible! This is terrible!" Well, we know all those little 8 and 9-year-olds were still watching movies like The Terminator. They were watching was a Total Recall and all that other jazz. RoboCop, and you want to sit there and complain that they're playing a video game? Anyway, so Kintaro from Storm Collectibles, the bloody variant. It was an event exclusive, a con exclusive. Kintaro being the number 7, and number 6 is going to be the 4 Horsemen's Father Christmas. Of course, you're probably sitting there thinking, it's not the Headless Horseman. No, it's not the Headless Horseman. Headless Horseman was an incredible figure. Was an incredible figure, but let's just be honest. I mean, Headless Horseman versus Santa Claus? I mean, are we really going to have that conversation? Headless Horseman versus Santa Claus? Santa Claus would just throw up a couple of, Christmas pixie dust in the air, and then poof, the horseman would have a new head in his stocking. Yeah. It wouldn't be headless anymore. Would he? No, of course not. No, no. So that's why Father Christmas, of course, being Father Christmas being the number six figure from the four horsemen, and a special shout out to the moose. Is that Adar? Adar the moose? Actually, it's Rudolph the moose. Yeah, so you have to have the moose with Father Christmas. But definitely, that is so. Here we go. So once again, the top numbers 10 through number six. We have the Desert Rat from Valaverse. We have Leatherhead from Super 7. We have Monstar from Ramen Toy. Kentaro from Storm Collectibles. And Father Christmas from the Four Horsemen. And, this is interesting because there's a show that I listen to and I participate in every Friday night. I do have, I believe, the caller calling in here right now as we speak, who is one of the hosts of that show. And that is the Casual Toy Chat. The Casual Toy Chat that happens every Friday night at 10:30. And it's a show where the host, his name is Casual, does a broadcast risk. A broadcaster, he posts the link to be a part of the show in the chat, and anyone can join in. Anyone can join in to the Casual Toy Chat. And once again, that's every Friday night at 10:30 Eastern Time to be a part of the Casual Toy Chat. And what do we do? What happens at the Casual Toy Chat? Well, everybody always wants to show off their action figures and toys. And what better place to do that than with a couple of guys just hanging out, showing off action figures and toys. So, what you do is if you have a figure, action figure that you want to show off, one of the things that you would do is you would just show up on screen, click the link down in the chat, and then poof, you'll be able to be on the show. You can show off your action figures and toys on the Casual Toy Chat. And speaking of the Casual Toy Chat, I believe I do have Casual himself on the phone right now. Casual, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good morning, Sam.
Good, good morning. Good morning to you. You sound like you have a frog in your throat. You all right over there?
Well, it was a very busy night. Yeah, mine is a little, is a little gritty this morning.
Well, you know what? It's great to hear your voice, regardless of of the frog in your throat. One of the things that I did want to talk about is that last night was Flex number 52. Now, you and Bruce Banner, aka Jesus, uh, did a little something starting off at the beginning of a year, which was the Flex 52 countdown, I guess, or uh, something to that effect. But what I want you to do, and if you can, is I want you to just talk a few moments about what the Flex 52 was and why you guys started that process and that journey at the beginning of this year.
Well, the year started off really rough. It was very therapeutic. Music is an escape, almost like a diary, a way of telling things that you're going through in life. And just a way to motivate people to get through things that they're going through as well. We also thought we thought that it was a different lane to kind of take. We don't see any other toy collector or any other YouTubers that kind of have the vibe that we have going on. And we thought it would be good to just kind of take control of the Flex Friday feeling and put it to music every week. And we wanted to do it for the entire year. There was 52 Fridays in the year, so we made it a mission to make 52 different songs.
So 52 different songs, 52 different songs, a new song every Friday night for the entire year of 2022. And something that I don't think has ever been done before, if I can recall. And it really set the standard and raised the bar in terms of what you guys were able to do, not only as toy collectors, because like I said, everyone just shows up and we show off our toys, but as musicians and artists in general. Real quickly, can you talk about what happened in terms of just the progression of the songs throughout the year? Because if I can say that there was a kind of a change shortly, well, not shortly, but probably within the first 12 to 20 songs, a change happened. and that's reflected in the music. But can you just talk about your growth as an artist, as a musician, and as a lyricist that happened throughout the year?
Well, any practice makes perfection, of course. So anything that you stay working on is going to improve. And also the situation changed. It seemed like the harder that we grind and the more that we work throughout the year, the better the situation got. So you can kind of you can tell in the beginning that there's a lot of personal issues that we're dealing with. You can kind of catch it in the lyrics, and like midway through it, you can start to hear that the tides are turning. That it's not so much battle songs anymore. It's almost victory.
Well, it was a victory. It was a victory that every single Friday, people make it through the week, and the weeks can be rough, especially if you're working all the time. And you've been doing this casual toy chat for how many years? How long now? Have you been doing the actual chat?
2 years, man. 2 years and what? 2 years and 2 months.
2 years. 2 years and 2 months. And I must say that there's a reason why that I enjoy just coming on your show on Friday nights is because there was a time back in 2021 when this station was shut down. It was shut down because everything was shut down. You couldn't even go outside. But the station was shut down, and it was your channel and the Casual Toy Chat on a Friday night that allowed me, a little old media puppet, the most trusted puppet in media, to come on screen, and you guys welcomed me with open arms. And it was one of those times where it was like finding a new home. It was like finding a new home when I did not have the home that I have here at the radio station. So I want to thank you for doing what you do every single Friday night and also all throughout the week. You also broadcast during the week, giving collectors a place and a space to go just to kind of wind down the day. And even if somebody has picked up a new toy, you can allow people can come in and show that off during the day as well. But I just want to just commend you for giving this little media puppet a home away from home when I was not able to be here actually on broadcast radio.
We love you, Sam. We love you, man. You're welcome anytime.
Well, once again, like I said, this is the casual. We're on the phone here with the Casual Toy Collector. That's casual with a K. You can listen to his show and watch his show every Friday night. The Casual Toy Chat at 10:30 Eastern Time every Friday evening. Make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel as well because he does broadcast every single night almost. Unless he decides to take a night off. And sometimes you do need to take a night off, but we do commend you for having a place to go. Now, before I let you go, I do need to ask you, of course, the question of the day. Your top favorite action figure of 2022. What is it? Well, we can do an action figure and a toy. We can do both. The Clover Stunt. So yeah, so you actually printed that yourself, and people can reach out to you and you can print one of them for them as well for their own collection too. Correct? How can they reach out to you? What is the way they can reach out to you? Social media?
You can catch me on Instagram, Casual Toy Collector. You can catch me on Facebook, William Branch. That's the government name. You can also email me at casual with a K, KASUAL 706 at gmail.com. And of course, you can catch me every night on YouTube.
And that's great. So once again, casual with a K. Now you mentioned the stun, which is something that you did. Now, what about action figures that you're able to purchase? Just in the toy aisle, online, things like that. Do you have a particular one that sticks out in your mind that is your favorite? Is there a reason? And was there a reason why the Serpentor? Why do you say the Serpentor? Give us a couple of reasons why?
It just stands out, man. It was one of the toys I had as a kid, and it really pops out in memory.
So that is the Serpentor, the G.I. Joe classified Serpentor, being your favorite toy that you purchased this year. The self-printed G.I. Joe Stun being another one that you have been playing with around a lot as well. And I want to thank you, of course, Casual, for calling into the show. Once again, that is Casual with the K, Casual Toy Collector. You can find him on YouTube. Subscribe to his YouTube channel. You're going to be doing a Casbar rockin' or rapping or toy flexing New Year's Eve special tonight, are you not? So it's a casual flexing New Year's Eve special that is tonight. Is that at 10:30 or 10? 10:30 p.m. for a casual flexing New Year's Eve countdown. That is tonight on YouTube on the Casual Toy Collector channel. So, Casual, I want to thank you for calling. And once again, congratulations to you and Brucey for the Flex 52. We are looking forward to the eventual CD release of that and seeing exactly what you guys will do in the future. If not a Flex, maybe some videos or whatever. But we appreciate you for your hard work and giving us a soundtrack for the last 52 weeks. And I want to thank you again for calling into the show. Absolutely. Once again, that is the Casual Toy Collector. And you can, like I said, follow him on YouTube. Now that's not a kid's show. That's not a kid's show. So be careful. Be careful if you do have kids around. Definitely for viewing for 21 years and older. So maybe 18, I don't know. But once again, Casual Toy, a Casbar rockin' New Year's Eve special countdown. That's 10:30 tonight on YouTube. So once again, I wanted just to go back over here my list here. I think I have another phone call coming in just a few moments. But the number 10 was The Desert Rat by Valaverse. Number 9, Leatherhead from Super 7. Monstar by Ramen Toy. Kintaro from Storm Collectibles. And Father Christmas, a.k.a. Santa Claus, by the Four Horsemen. So that's numbers 10 through 6. We will go through numbers 5 through 1 in the next hour. So the top 5 toys of 2022, according to me, is really the only list that matters. Because I don't have a simp list like everybody else. Once again, no Hasbro on the list, no Mattel on the list, no NECA on the list. Show me any other person out there that has that and they can claim that. When you say, "Well, Sam, you don't," no. Listen, I've been doing this a long time. Hell, I have wind-up toys from the early 1900s. So don't tell me exactly what constitutes as a great figure and not a great figure. Everybody and their mom is going to sit there and say, something from Hasbro or Mattel. So I just like the fact that Casual out of the gate was like, hell, you know what? One of my own prints is my favorite. And that's great. Like, yeah, nothing's better than a toy if you make the toy yourself. So shout out to Casual and go follow Casual on social media. Like I said, he can print you out a couple of G.I. Joe vehicles and things as well. So we got another phone call coming in. Caller, you're here live with the most trusted puppet in media, reporting since Raw as well. Sam NewsMan, state your name. Where are you calling from?
Sam, it's
TNT Nate. Happy New Year's Eve. Happy New Year's Eve. Hope you had a fantastic Christmas. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good, Sam. Just enjoying listening to the show. Called in with a little information for the listeners. But I'm loving this whole conversation about top toys. I don't collect many toys, but I got a couple this year.
What did you get? What was the one that sticks out in your mind? One of your favorites.
Well, I've stated before my favorite toys were Battle Beasts, and I got the Kickback Kangaroo Battle Beast. He's my favorite, so he's not a new toy, but my favorite one for the year just because it reminded me so much of my childhood. But also, I don't know, Christmas is my favorite holiday, and I just started to collect the Hallmark keepsake ornaments.
Oh.
And they may not be a conventional toy, Sam, but my favorite comic book character, Spider-Man, they released the Amazing Fantasy 60th anniversary where they introduced Spider-Man, and I got that ornament, Sam, and that's going to be on the tree from now on. So I'll continue that collection, and they have a lot of other cool ornaments if any of you guys are Christmas fans like myself.
Well, it's interesting that you did bring up the Hallmark ornament, and I'll be able to talk about that a little bit later in the next hour when I bring up some other figures and things like that. But you said so. It was the Kickback Kangaroo from Battle Beast and the Spider-Man ornament from Hallmark keepsake ornament.
Yeah, Sam, that was my two of the year.
Well, those are great too, and I love the fact that you included an ornament. It's definitely a fan of Christmas that's after my own heart. So that's really great that you would actually have an ornament as one of your favorite figures. Now, you did say that you had some information for our audience. Now, before we hear that, being that you are the official news correspondent and information conspiracy analyst here for the show, did want to ask you, what do you think is the top news story of 2022?
Oh, geez, Sam. Top news story of 2022.
Yeah, if you had to pick one story.
One story. All the ones that
of all of them, because I bet that you're not going to say the one that I'm thinking of.
Sam, this is a doozy of a question, Sam.
Well, I only ask the hardball questions.
Yes. No, this is a hardball question. Put me on the spot here. Out of all the stories, it's one that no one really paid attention to, and I am going to allude to the story after my information that I'm going to present your audience here. Because I always say, Sam, follow the money, and you can't follow the money any further back than these old central banks, Sam. And my favorite, or the most important story, is the central bank digital currency, the legislation passed by Biden, that how this upcoming July, the Fed now is going to take effect, whether we are ready for it or not. And it segues perfect into what I'm going to go over today, Sam. I think that's the most important story just because it's one that they didn't pay attention to in the regular news cycle. And it's one I think that's going to have a massive, massive impact on all of us, especially Toy Town, Sam.
We'll go right ahead. So just deep dive right into it, digital currencies and things of that nature. So tell us what you got.
Well, Sam, I took a week off to enjoy Christmas. But I had to come back because Christmas, even though it's my favorite, and I don't let these rulers take it away from me, they happen to take a lot away during the week of Christmas in 1913, Sam. Man, just like I took a week off, so did a lot of our congressmen back then, to enjoy the fruits of our labor. Well, they probably were sent home with a nice bottle of sherry, a cigar, a few extra dollars in their pocket. Our Congress went home with the country's banking interest intact. Well, but some decided to pat their buddies on the back and stay back, Sam. I'm sure these seemed innocent enough back then, except it wasn't. Those scoundrels perpetrated the defining moment when England and the banking families took back the United States. And the father of the New World Order laid each golden brick at their stinking feet of the Rothschilds, the Morgans, the Rockefellers, the Goldman Sachs, Lehman and Coombs, the Loebs, the Warburgs, the Lazards, the Israel Most, Saifs. That's a Roman family, Sam. It all leads back to Rome.
Gesundheit, by the way.
I digress. Let's get back to the takeover. Man, and I guess that Rome story is a story for another day. But back to the Jesuit banking takeover. And do not let me forget the Schiffs. Good old Shifty Schiffs, Jacob Schiff, was in on this. And his scaly claws all over this cartel operation. This gave control, Sam, of we the people's money. The Federal Reserve Act of 1913 is what they enacted, and it gave the control of we the people's money to these individual family interests, Sam. And I would not be a good conspiracy analyst if I didn't bring this up. I feel like all of our listeners know this happened, but it can't be more important than it is now. This was, and still is, completely unconstitutional if you were going to go by our presiding law of the land. But as I've stated in previous episodes, the original Constitution has been superseded and was done so in 1871. Originally, Congress was to be the only entity to have power over providing value and coining to our currency, Sam. Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1.
But these slick banking families got around that after getting rid of the Astors and Guggenheims in titanic fashion. Now, because of our lackadaisical guardianship of our Constitution, we now borrow our own money from banking thieves at interest each time we decide to spend one of these notes in our pocket, or every time we decide to swipe the old card. There's interest attached, whether we think it's our own money or not. It is not. It is these families' money, and we borrow it from them. And we could have revoked this method of banking, Sam. We have thrived as a nation without these parasites. But because of the McFadden Act of 1927, which is the slimy Calvin Coolidge, he signed it into law. The act rechartered the Federal Reserve Bank in perpetuity, Sam. And in simple words, that gave the banking cartel power over our money until we decide otherwise. So, can 2023 finally be the year where we rescind the Federal Reserve Bank charter and get rid of that camel clutch stranglehold these vampires have over our banking system, Sam? Good grief, I hope so. We do have quite the fight on our hands, though. These people propose now that we just fall in line and allow them to create what we were going to segue into later, the central bank digital currency, and control our currency with the push of a button, Sam. This shall not stand. So, folks, follow their lead and protect your wealth with a little gold and silver, and get some land too, and buckle up, buttercups, because like I said earlier, the Fed has announced the launch of the Fed Now service as early as July of 2023. So, folks, write your Congressman Pickett Holson.
Oh, wait.
Fed Now. Your monetary sovereignty will depend on it.
So, in summary, Sam, pay attention to your representatives during the holidays. Don't let this
July 4th be the one where we sign our freedom over. And remember, Sam, if all else fails, if you're in a fix, TNT Nate has got your six, and God bless America. Oh, and one last thing, Sam. Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys indeed. Of course, he didn't say go Cowboys last week, and I think they won. So it seems like that every time he does say go Cowboys, they end up losing. So so we'll see if that ends up being the case. Of course, all of this digital currency stuff goes back to Lord Blanket, as he said. And one of the things that I wanted to sit there and let everybody know, and the top story of 2022, well, it was the death of the Queen. Yeah, it was the death of the Queen. And of course, being that the death of the Queen being my top story of 2022, there's a reason behind that. And that reason is that a lot of the House of Cards it was connected to the throne, a lot of money and Committee of 300 and all this other kind of stuff that TNT Nate normally talks about. A lot of that is now on shaky ground. That's all on shaky ground because of the death of the Queen. So the death of the Queen being the number one story that I, the most trusted puppet in media, reporting since Roswell, will say is probably the number one story of 2022. So I want to thank TNT Nate for calling. Once again, Battle Beast being his number one toy of the year, and also a Hallmark ornament. A Hallmark ornament. Like I said, that's a collector after my own heart. Someone who's getting actual ornaments for their tree. I wonder if he's going to keep the tree up all year. I would keep my tree up all year, but it gets in the way of a green screen that I have back at the studio in Toy Town. So, but yeah, so want to thank TNT Nate for calling in, and I'm sure we'll hear back from him next week, and we'll double check and see if his Cowboys end up losing since he just jinxed them again. Like I said, last time he didn't say go Cowboys, they ended up actually winning. So 804-289-UR90, 804-289-8790. I'll keep the phone line open for just a few moments for you to call into the show. I want to hear what your top favorite toy was, or action figure, or both, from this past year. Once again, I did give out my top five, or numbers 10 through 6. Once again, we can go through them one more time. But if you are listening to the show, at Sam NewsMan on Instagram, at Sam NewsMan over here on YouTube, Sam NewsMan on TikTok, Twitch, Facebook. What else are we on? Twitter. That's right, Twitter. Have we got a blue check mark yet? No, we need to get that. We need to get that ball rolling. You can get that ball rolling. Well, the great thing about it is that you notice that all the journalism Twitter accounts have a yellow check mark. That's an indication of yellow journalism. So you don't expect me to have a yellow check mark next to my name. No, only a blue official one. No, yeah, that's exactly right. Well, and I'll get back to numbers 10 through 6 here in just a few moments. I do have another phone call coming in here. So let's see here. Caller, you are live here with the most trusted puppet in media, reporting since Roswell. State your name. Where are you calling from?
You know who this is.
Crazy Toys. Crazy Toys. How are you? Good morning. Happy New Year's Eve. How are you?
The Kaz father and the Sam father for keeping us all together, we appreciate everything you and Kaz do, and despite all the negative or positive things, I love all this.
Well, we appreciate you being a part of the show. Crazy Toys calling in from Crazyville. What is happening in Crazyville right now? Is everyone getting ready for the New Year's, the Casbar Flexin' New Year's Eve special countdown this evening?
I'm trying to evict the Cobra Frat guys, man.
Evict the Cobra Frat. I'm not sure if everybody would like that. Listen, where are the Cobra troopers going to have a place to go to if the Cobra Frat has been if they've been evicted?
Yeah, well, they're just a bunch of bumbling plastic fools, so they need to go find somewhere else to be foolish. But Sam, more importantly, I wanted to share my top toy, something or another. Everyone has like their favorite thing, but I was sitting here thinking about all the toys that we were supposed to get but didn't get. So shout out to all the late pre-orders. Super 4. Those are all my favorites. Shout out to the custom pre-orders of guys taking orders who said they would be out in the last few months, but have since posted stories saying January 2023, February. So shout out to my custom guys. Shout out to my render collection. When all those pre-order people put out those computer renders, I wanted to shout out my render collection.
Yeah. Oh, so you have a render collection. A render collection.
Oh, you bet, man. Because they're always like, we're going to make this, we're going to make that. And I'm like, oh, sweet.
More pictures from my render folder.
This on your desktop.
My Big Bad Toy Store pre-order loop that always gets to the end of the month and goes to the next month and then the month after that. So shout out to my pre-order loop, and shout out to since I can't get figures, I just print them out on paper and stand them up on my shelf. So basically, shout out to all the late stuff or stuff that didn't come out. So that's my toy of the year right there.
So the digital renders in your folder, and also your paper cutouts of. Probably, you mentioned Big Bad Toy Store. One of the things that I think that is always interesting is whenever I get something that hits my pile of loot and then I send it off to be shipped to Toy Town. It never ceases to amaze me that then another figure will then hit my pile of loot. It's like, well, why didn't that hit my pile of loot before I just sent the last pile of loot? It's a 24-hour. It's always about 24 hours after I get something sent that something else hits my loot pile, and it's like, well, I just sent something off. So one of the things that I was telling everyone earlier that I don't have any NECA figures on my list this year. However, the NECA Mandrake from Defenders of the Earth hit my loot pile. I'm not going to be able to get it. I'm not, and well, of course, I just had sent a pile of loot to the house, and then of course that ends up showing up, and then that doesn't get put in the pile. And now, if you go on to Big Bad Toy Store, that toy is sold out. So I'm telling you right now that look for Mandrake. Mandrake probably being one of the top 10 figures next year that might end up actually being on the list that ended up coming out right here at the tail end. But of course, nobody gets it right here before the end of the year because they just got it in this week. They just got it in this week, and it's not going to arrive to anybody's house until next week, including Toy Town itself. But Mandrake from NECA is one of those figures that, like I said, hits my loot pile right after I already send a pile of loot to Toy Town. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Well, yeah, I'm aware that your producer just got the Phantom horse too. In fact, you should talk about how the Phantom is like the OG, like wide-eyed superhero, and they're created by the Mandrake and him are created by the same guy, and how Batman's a straight-up Shadow ripoff. There you go.
Well, I do plan on doing that and during the next hour. So just hold on to your horses. You just notice how I did. Hold on. You like that? Yeah, I like that.
Sam father, Kaz father, and Jerem, thank you so much for resurrecting Toy Town, and thanks for Sam for introducing the Flex Brothers, because man, you guys are great. I love everybody at the Kaz Bar. Thank you all for all being around. Drama, no drama, positive, negative. I love, everyone has like feelings, and everyone should have the right to say whatever they need to say, whoever they hate, whatever they hate, and whatever toy company they strongly dislike. That's the beautiful thing, right?
It is, and it's a beautiful thing that you called in. But I don't know if it's going to be too beautiful if the Cobra Troopers get kicked out of the frat house. Not sure exactly how everybody would like that, but it might put Crazyville in a tizzy. I mean, who knows? Who knows? It might be the paper cutouts that end up taking over the frat house. So.
It'll be a struggle, but we'll see. But Sam, thanks for your time. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And thanks everybody who calls in and makes your show the magic that it is on Saturday mornings. Thank you so much, Sam and Jeremy. Take care.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's listen to that. Do you see that, Germ? He used your government name there back behind the glass over there. And Germ's sitting there smiling from ear to ear. Oh, my name was on the radio. My name was on the radio. Well, yeah, but that's the reason why you're still back there. Look at that. See, you're smiling. You can't even sit there and figure out the phones correctly back there. End up hearing a dial out of nowhere. Anyway, so here we are once again, broadcasting live, WDCE 90.1 FM. Shout out to Collecting Classics that I just saw that popped in here. Collecting Classics. Are you following Collecting Classics? That's collecting_classics. You can follow him on Instagram. Also follow him on YouTube as well. Someone who I met not too long ago, who's doing a fantastic job in everything. But I do. What is going on here? I see that it looks like that he's trying to call in onto the. Can't call in. What is going on here? See, it's fuzzy and makes everything fuzzy. All right, we back. Now the YouTube. Now the Instagram's going bananas. All right, we back? There we go. So back again here. Oh, got another phone call coming in. I only got 5 minutes left here, so I got about 30 seconds, about a minute and a half here. And now, of course, like I said, my Instagram is going bananas because Collecting Classics tried to call in. Caller, let's see. Oh, nope. So there it is. Hold on, wait a minute. There we go. Caller, you're live here with the most trusted puppet in media, reporting since Roswell, Sam NewsMan. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Sam. This is DFS.
Oh, DFS. Listen, DFS, what I want you to do, I want you to give us a call back here in just a few moments. I'm going to play a song here, but I do want to speak to you directly, and I believe that you have a monologue prepared for us as well. So I want you to call back in just a few moments in the middle of the next segment, the music segment, and we'll talk at the top of next hour about 11:55. I want to be able to give you the floor because I do also have some questions that I want to ask you as well. So so we'll talk. So and once again, this is DFS. So we have a special interview with DFS and a monologue that is coming in just a few moments at the top of next hour. DFS will speak to you in just a few moments. Okay, so hold on just a moment. Okay. All right. So that is DFS. He'll be on in just a few moments, like I said. And also collecting classics. Follow collecting classics on Instagram and YouTube. My Instagram is now going bananas because he tried to call the phone here. And so he tried to call the phone here. So try to get Collecting Classics to call in after the interview with DFS. So Collecting Classics, if you're there, 804-289-UR90, 804-289-8790. Like I said, my Instagram is going bananas now because I had someone because he tried to call in. So, but that's okay. That's okay. So if you're there Collecting Classics, go ahead, write down the number, call in after DFS because I do want to get your top Masters of the Universe figure in 2022, which I know there's got to be one. There's got to be one. And like I said, we'll be back on the other side of the break at Sam NewsMan on Instagram. Get this thing working again. It's all jagged and going crazy, but you can always watch us on YouTube. Sam NewsMan on YouTube, at Sam NewsMan on Twitter, at Sam NewsMan, TikTok, Twitch, Facebook, and all the other places as well. So we'll be back here in just a few moments. What does it say? I can't hear anything. Is the audio just me? Well, it probably is just you because you sat there and called in and messed up the audio. So anyway, so we'll be back here in just a few moments here on the other side of the break. 804-289-UR90, 804-289-8790. Broadcasting live from the WDCE studios out of the University of Richmond. You're listening to 90.1 FM from the most trusted puppet in media. Reporting since Roswell, I'm Sam NewsMan, and this is Saturday morning.